Hey, everybody.
Everybody, welcome
Oh,
to Dating God's Way.
God's
Woo-hoo.
way. Woohoo.
Yes. Super excited. We're just pushing that share button now. We want you to do the same. Share, share, share.
Share alike.
Like Dating God's Way. Yes, and yes.
Y'all come on in here.
Yeah, we're sharing.
Do, do,
Everybody in
do,
the room.
do.
Everybody coming in the room.
Welcome.
Hey, welcome. Invite a friend, invite a neighbor, invite a coworker, invite somebody to this talk tonight.
Sure.
Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome.
That's one of my new sayings right now, for sure.
We are live on Facebook and live on YouTube. Dating God's Way Season 2. Hey. Yes. Invite a friend, a family member, a prospective. Invite someone to the live stream tonight. Our music again. So, season 2.
Hey. No, it's just okay. Season two, silliness. Jazz and silliness. Season 2. Hey, everybody.
Alrighty, we're ready to get to this discussion. I
Yes,
think it's gonna be something. I tell you that. Gonna be something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, this is episode 3, episode 203, season 2, episode 3. Man, this has been a good 3 weeks so far here on Dating God's Way.
Yeah.
Interesting topics. Hey, and y'all keep sending y'all topics in. I thank y'all for sending topics. I really appreciate all of you all that has given us something to chew on and something to share in our Dating God's Way, during our Dating God's Way series.
Yeah.
So yeah. So y'all welcome to Dating God's Way. Share this. You can Dating God's Way is somewhere for couples, and for the married and the unmarried. So the couples and the singles, we invite all of you all to come join Dating God's Way. Share it with your male friend or your female friend, whoever you're dating. Share with them. I heard somebody say, man, they say, hey Will, you know, man, we be checking out your stream, man, and I be telling my friend, I be telling my female friends, man, y'all need to go check out Pastor Will and his wife on Dating God's Way. Oh yeah, Pastor, they be talking Dating God's Way, so it's buzzing. I'm happy to hear that we are able to share something or offer something.
Yeah.
Something, a little help. Like I said, we don't know it all. We don't even claim to know it all. We don't even claim to know even half of all. Um, but we hope to, or we pray that our experience and that what we've read in the Bible and what we know of the Lord, we pray that it rings in your life as you explore dating. Amen.
Yeah, I think, you talk about married. So I think also once you're married, you can receive perspective. Sometimes you need a perspective shift about things. So dating God's way also helps the married, helps us keep our minds right, married couples, about things that we may have come in with the wrong perspective. It happens.
It
So
happens.
yeah, dating God's way. Let's get in it, Pastor Will.
God's Way. Hey, so we got Tara. I see Tara online. Who else I see out here? I just want to give some shout outs. I see Nichelle. I see Tiana. Yeah,
Kanisha,
Kanisha. Hey, giving
you
all the
know. Yeah, let us know that you're here, where you're from. Yeah, give it to us.
Facebook don't do like it used to do when it used to pop up every time somebody pop in, it'll pop up. It
Oh yeah,
doesn't.
somebody's here, somebody's here, somebody's here.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't do what it used to do, but we gonna do what we do.
That's what we're gonna do.
That's what we gonna do. So let it let it do what it do, baby. Oh my. So tonight's topic, dating God's way. We're gonna talk about the sugar daddies and the sugar mamas. The sugar daddies and the sugar mamas. Okay, so what's the sugar? If you're not hip to the jive, to to the jive scene, if you're not hip to it, or you never heard of a sugar mama or a sugar daddy, so let me explain a little as best as I can articulate, as best that I can articulate. So yeah, I'm cutting up already, sir. I'm sorry. So the sugar daddy or sugar mama is the one who has the money in the relationship. That's is the one um that that take care of all the wants financially in the relationship. And so I, for example, if um if I wanted something, not a need, or if I had a need, if I wanted something, I could always go to Pastor E as my sugar mama. If we had that kind of relationship, that I was that I would have no problem getting $15,000 from her because I know she got it and she my sugar mama, and that's what that's what I keep her hanging around for because she my sugar mama, and she hooked me up. So so as Kanye West said in his song, um she gives me money when I'm in need.
Okay.
He gives me money. Okay, he gives me money. That's what he's saying. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, right. It's going. The lyrics are going to shift in a moment. So I
yeah,
think that's not what we're looking for tonight.
we're talking about sugar daddies and sugar mamas. So yeah, he give me money. So when I'm in need. So yeah,
Y'all.
and oh my. I woke up early this morning. I haven't had a
That's
nap.
correct. You need a nap.
I
You need
haven't
a
had
nap.
I haven't had my midday nap. So
So I
I'm
also found out, Pastor Will, that there are sugar daddies on IG.
sugar daddies on IG.
Yeah, so it's a whole thing. Sugar daddies on Instagram looking for sugar babies. People that they could
Oh,
pay their bills and stuff.
okay. So what's in it for any of the parties?
So they're gonna pay bills. They're gonna pay the bills of a sugar daddy. At least back in the day, was an older man and a younger woman,
True.
and so they're gonna pay the bills. And I guess you have to do some type of favor. It could be a sexual favor.
Oh,
Or they was also saying that you can take pictures of your feet. You can send them like one of their fetish, like a whole thing,
oh, wow.
and they pay your bills.
Oh, that's deep. That's pretty deep. And sugar daddies are older, especially back in the day, because the sugar daddy they were much more established. Um,
Correct.
they been working on their job for quite a few years, and they have made it to a point that they are sugar daddies and that they are what you call caked up now,
Yeah.
and they can go back to work the next morning. Now, understand a sugar daddy got his priorities straight.
He does not have his priorities straight.
He not, he not he not hooking work for a woman. He realized he realized that going to work is why he got that cute girl on his arm.
Well, let me say this: that nowadays, sugar daddy has taken a shift because these men, as Tara is telling us, is about 40 to 55,
Yeah.
and they may have money, but may not have the same mentality.
Mm, I can see that.
So
I
as
mean,
we,
I mean,
yeah,
you take a guy that's 40 to 55 now. These guys been raised in the 80s and 90s. So I don't. Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, so sugar
well,
daddy, this whole term we're talking about tonight, Pastor Will. We're talking about money. What's in your wallet?
yeah. What's in your wallet?
What's in your wallet? And some of our questions tonight is about um money. What we talking about? Money. We're talking about should a woman or a man should look for someone who can take care of them financially. That's our first question of the night. Should a woman or a man look for someone who can take care of them financially? I wish I could do a little poll out here and see what y'all think.
I try to say that
Yeah.
you on the sugar mama.
Same idea, Sarah. Uh,
Same
could be
idea.
a cougar, could be
Yeah,
a cougar
that's
type.
what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
a
Yeah,
cougar type. Sugar mama in most cases are cougar type, and they may be taking care of a man financially, or they may just need the arm candy. Either way, sugar mama.
yeah, yeah. Sugar
So
mama.
the question tonight, if we can do a quick poll, you can just write yes or no really quickly in the comment section. Should a woman or a man look for someone to take care of them financially as a part of as a relationship requirement? Let's get some answers going here. What do you guys think?
Whether or not you're in a situation.
Yeah. Whether or not you need it,
Yeah,
should.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I think no,
Yeah.
but there should be a mentality of provision, right, from both sides. Okay,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
okay, all right. Can you be my provider? Can you provide for me, boo? Okay, okay, okay. Oh, that's dating God's way. Okay,
That's
no,
me.
I don't think so. But we need some jobs, though, right? Can we share that job together, boo?
I see we're getting a lot of no's on the screen, but it seems like there is a lot of in society today, there is a lot of talk about money, Pastor Will.
Yeah,
And if you can't take care of me, if you can't. So it seems like this is a criteria.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the need for money is serious, or the not even say the desire for money is serious. The need is one thing, but the desire to live a lifestyle that you can't afford is pretty serious.
Yeah, the ideas that he has to make more than me, the ideas that the man has to make the most, the ideas that, this idea about money. Tonight, what we're really trying to do is uncover how we think about money as it relates to dating and marriage, because this is, as statistics show, this is one of the top reasons why people get divorced. And this is a top reason why people don't even make it to marriage, y'all.
Wow.
Finances is a reason why people don't make it down the aisle. So this is a crucial conversation. Wouldn't you say, Pastor Will?
I would say this is a crucial conversation. I think this is a conversation that needs to be had not only in this safe place of dating God's way, excuse me, but it also in the marriage and premarital counseling and marriage counseling, this conversation need to be had, um, because you find out people have someone have a relationship with money that you don't have, um, whether it's good or bad, and we see how that relationship with money causes conflict or can be an area of conflict.
I would go as far as saying that the conversation has to start before premarital counseling, Pastor Will.
Yeah,
Because if you wait till you get to premarital counseling, you may find that your ideas about finances don't match.
absolutely.
That you got into something that you don't really agree with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You like to save, you like to build up, you like to hold on to, and the other one, hey, they like to buy clothes and shoes and be at the mall every, they ain't saving nothing,
They ain't saving nothing and they make $10 an hour.
but it's the relationship with money.
Yeah,
And,
but
and
it's what's in your wallet. Yeah.
I think we have to talk about, what is our I mean, we can have this conversation for hours about what is our relationship with finances, and our relationship with finances can also be an indicator of our relationship with other things. What are we compensating for, or what is it that we missing, or what is it that we never had before that I'm holding on to money for? What am I saving for? And like I said, whether good or bad, but it has to be, I think with money, and I'm going too far, but I think with money, there has to be an agreement with how a couple is going to handle their finances. But I know I'm going too far in this conversation.
Yeah, because I mean, before we can get to is there agreement, I think there has to be a baseline.
Yeah.
So our next question is, does it matter who makes more? Let's talk about that, everybody. Does it matter who makes more? In the comment section, give us some. Does it matter who makes more money, the woman or the man? Does it matter who makes more money?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm interested in the perspective of this. I watched a Christian talk show the other day, and in this Christian talk show was one gospel artist that I knew. She's single right now and never been married, and she was on the panel with two other single women, and she was also on the panel with a few single men. And this question came up, and I thought the answers was really interesting. So I'm wondering what you guys think about it. Okay, I see nope. No, not to me. Somebody said, help me with this one.
Because I think when the government put it in a way like this about who makes more on the IRS sheet, it says head of household. And there is some thought or some thinking that whoever makes more is the head of household.
That can be a perspective.
That could be a perspective, right?
That could be a perspective.
That's one perspective, and we're gonna talk about it. So is the one who make more really the head of household?
Does finances put you in a different position in the relationship?
Yeah.
And right now, we're starting off Dating God's Way tonight by asking tons of questions. Because what we want to do is really spark some thought and thinking with you about how you really think about money. Like, it's real easy to be like, no, 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 no. But I was about to make the same point that Tara's making, that if the woman makes six figures and the man makes 35, 45,000, what does that do to the household? Does it do anything to the household? Is it something that may be thought about in a certain way because now the woman thinks she's head of household? Is that a perspective? I think it's something that we need to talk about, you guys.
Yeah, yeah. It's it is. Do you feel inferior or superior based on what you bringing in? You know, does money determine your role?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Uh-oh, got questions coming up already. Look
There you
at
go.
yeah, you said does money determine your role? Very interesting. Very interesting. I think that's a great question. Does money determine your role?
Now,
Interesting.
now, mind you, I know who on our stream, who's in our church, and we talking about professional women here. And we talking about women that's that's climbing the pay scale. Um, I'm telling you, man, right now, we have some good women that go to Vision Impact Center. The very good women.
Go ahead, Pastor. Put it out there. Because we thinking about doing that a speed dating God's way. So we on the lookout. Be on the lookout.
We have they are brilliant. They are college
Yes.
graduates. They
Yes.
are designers and coders and lawyers and uh,
Yes.
everything else in the marketplace. So, okay, all right. Sorry,
So that's money, Pastor, before you get on the whole thing. We getting there, y'all.
we getting there.
Does money determine your role within the household?
Does it?
I
Does
think this is an important conversation because too many times I think that money has been a driver in certain decisions that we make. Money has been a driver in how we position ourselves, how we see ourselves. And when you have to start sharing your money with somebody else, right? Like, to give a little bit of our personal perspective, when I met Pastor Will, he was definitely making more money than me. As time went along, I started climbing. And one of the things that I think is key is that we had to share money regardless, because the dynamic of a marriage relationship is supposed to be us and not me. We and not me, us and not I. So I do think that these questions tonight start to really get us into, yes, what they already asking about is joint bank accounts, putting everything together. How do we begin to unravel this, Pastor Will? How do we begin to get in a space where we get some clarity about money decisions and how we should think about them? Especially, look, if we are not married yet, and if we are already married, we need to help the people, Pastor Will.
we need to help the people. We need to help the people.
Help the people, Pastor.
So y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready to be helped, or y'all still want to talk about the mentalities?
We
Or
have a lot of questions tonight, and we almost at question time. It makes almost 8:30. That's when we usually open up question time. But let's talk about a few more mentalities before we get into questions, because
okay.
the mentalities has opened up a lot of questions. I see them on the screen. They like help us. But before we help you, let us give you some more mentalities that exist.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think too, Pastor Will, that exists within this type of money dynamic is that one person, there's this idea that, okay, the person that makes the most money makes the financial decisions. Mm-hmm. But then there's also this idea that the person who makes the most money is also the person who is not just making money decisions, but then making household decisions, making family decisions, right? And I do think that that is societal. Like we got there by society. You know, I was raised by a single mom, but grew up in a house with my grandma and granddaddy. And my granddaddy was the provider. Like he went to work, and my grandmother had a choice. She could go to work or not. She had 6 kids. They had 6 kids. So she had a choice to go to work or not. So that dynamic is what I grew up in. The man was the provider, and the woman had a choice. Talk about your perspective, Pastor Will, on that. Give us some of your mentality.
Well, you
The
know,
real one.
the real one.
Yeah.
My mentality is, you know, is that money does not determine my authority.
Are you giving the answers? Go ahead. Okay.
Okay, no. Okay. Let me go back. So, my mentality?
Yes, your mentality about women and like the husband and wife dynamic. I told about my
Okay,
grandparents and how my grandfather was the provider, and then
okay.
how my grandmother had a choice whether she wanted to work or not.
So I don't know. I never knew my mom and dad's financial situation. Um, Other than they did all right. We did all right, and I remember my mom working part time for a long time, especially when I got into high school. She went to part time work and she started her own business. So I knew that she wasn't bringing in probably as much as she was when she was working for the government. And my dad stayed at work for many reasons, because he was banking on his pension. He was getting that pension up for retirement. And um so we knew that, we knew he was a provider, but he never lauded his status over anybody. He never, I never seen him put my mom down based on him being a provider or anything like that. Now he would say, you killing me, you killing me. This means and it took me a long time to really understand what he was saying, that you killing me, son. You killing me, boy. You killing me, Silla. You killing me. What he was saying is that every time I ask him for $1, that would be $1 he have to go back and work for. And that's where the mentality comes from, right?
Yeah.
My dad is probably and likely the most influential person I've had in my life for 42 years. I mean, 44 years. For 44 years, and still climbing. It's still to this day, he's still, even though he's gone, he's still very influential in my life, all the lessons taught. But anyway, that's a whole different.
But I think that's something very interesting that Pastor Will is saying, because that's his most influential, and my mother is mine. So I have a very independent work ethic. Like I really take work seriously, because I watched my mom, my single mom, work very hard to get me Christmases and get me Guess jeans and everything that was coming out, my Nintendo, my TVs. I mean, my mom worked hard, so I took on that work ethic from my mom. So one mentality that's coming up, Pastor Will, in this conversation is somebody's asking, we both working hard, but shouldn't the brother be working harder?
Man, nah.
If life happens to us financially, who who working harder to keep the roof over our heads, or is it everybody? So this mentality is that the husband should be working harder. He should be working harder to make sure that a roof stays over the family head. See, we're talking about mentalities that exist probably in you that you don't even know is there. It's just things that you think this is the way it should be. The end. You haven't even really explored these kinds of thoughts, maybe.
See, I had no problem with being the sole breadwinner. When we first got married, we had an agreement that both of us will work.
That's correct. We didn't have an agreement. You had a ultimatum.
Which was an agreement. We had an agreement. We had an agreement that I would bring my $20 and you would bring your $10 and we would have $30 together.
That's correct. And that's about what it was at that time.
And that's how we would live until that first baby came along. When you said I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Remember that argument or that intense fellowship that we had?
Oh, yes. I was going to stay home with baby Caitlin. Oh, yes. I thought, I'm going to stay home with baby Caitlin. We're going to just be in this house. We're going to have us a good old time. And then I realized
the final say, Jehovah has the final say. Tell me who has.
He is a singing tonight, y'all. He got the singing spirit on tonight, y'all. I realized that I did not want to be a stay-at-home mom. It was not up my cup of tea. I was not it. I needed to go to work. One thing Pastor Will told me, which is true, he said, look, if you stop working, our lifestyle is going to decrease because we're going to only be our salary. So he's like, look, we can do whatever you want to do, but at the end of the day, you can't have crabs every day if you stop working. That is it.
That is it. You
crabs every day.
You ain't going around the corner. You ain't going to the good crab houses. Nah, you're gonna have to go find a little baby crabs.
Grocery store crab, $9.
The joints with no seasoning on them, no seasoning on them, and everything. Yeah, we changed things around here.
He said you can't eat crabs every day. We can't afford no big old house. Like, that's the truth. You gotta afford with this one salary.
I scared her back into working. I took the crabs.
That's not true. I decided that I wanted to work, but I did also have a lifestyle. It was a lifestyle choice as well. That is true. Yes. Yeah, say.
Kaylin had some say. Kaylin was like, haha, you ain't staying home with me.
Yeah, Kaylin definitely has some say. One of the things that I seen the show talking about is that she was raised to believe that the husband is the protector and the provider. So what's the definition of provider if we're saying that both people put in? So I think maybe it is now 8:32. We can start getting into some questions.
Yeah, so let's talk about this provider, right? I see now as a provider myself. It's not that the groceries are my responsibility to buy, or that this house is my responsibility to pay the mortgage on. While it is, because my name is on it, as a provider, it is to ensure that all bases are covered, even if bases covered means enabling my family to be gainfully employed by enabling them. So even if gainfully employed is them running their own business or doing other things that I enable them to be the best that they can. That's being making sure I'm giving them the provisions that God has allowed me to give them so that they can live out, use a churchy term, so they can live out their callings and their destinies.
Ooh, Pastor Will, you got so much tonight. Yeah, I think one of the things that we're going to get to before we get to questions is the reality is, Pastor Will, that when we start talking about provision, I do think that provision then becomes about the family dynamic, right? The family dynamic and everyone understanding what their role is, right? What the role is, from a biblical perspective, I 100% agree. I 100% believe Pastor Willie is the head of the household. He is the man. He is the head of the household. At the end of the day, if something happened, we all looking at daddy. Okay?
Yep,
They
I own it.
That's correct. The wife, the babies, the kids. At the end of the day, something go down, y'all. We all looking at daddy, right? And so provision is about part of the family dynamic of not husband. Husband shoulders the weight of it, as he just told us. He shoulders the weight of it, but it doesn't mean that the whole team doesn't put in. Because I'm a part of the team of the family dynamic. So provision is about the family dynamic. It's not just about the head of household per se. Yeah, Pastor?
Yeah, I mean, you right on it, and in sports, when they talk to the losing team, they always talk to the leader first, whoever lost. When it comes, if they win the game, they talk to, like in football, you're gonna watch the Super Bowl. In football, they're gonna interview the running back for the winning team, or the whoever the MVP is, maybe it's the wide receiver or the defensive end, and they won, they're gonna interview the whole team. But if they lose, they only coming after one person, and that's the quarterback.
Yep.
What happened out there? And that's what it is. Really being the provider is that you know um, everybody get credit for the good, but for the bad, you really take ownership of, and it's so, and you feel good about it. At first you kind of feel bad about it. You feel like, man, I'm being dogged out or whatever. But at the end of the day, as you grow, and I pray that we grow old in our relationships, you realize that even if I had one failure, I've had so many successes on my way to
Yeah.
failure. Hey man, this it may bother you more than it bothered me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
what's that static? I hear static.
You didn't shut my door when you left. So see, everything goes to the husband.
It's my
Um,
fault.
so let's get into it. Let's go ahead and take some questions tonight. I think we are getting somewhere tonight.
I don't
Let's
know. Are we getting anywhere?
Yeah, we getting somewhere. We getting somewhere. We're taking our time getting there because we need to um, peruse some mentalities that may be there that we didn't know is there. So let's start getting into questions. Um, let's start with this first one. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe not more money, but if I make 150 and he make 35, what that mean? So let's get into this question. If the woman is making significantly more than the man, does that make a difference? Because I heard a man on that show that I was telling y'all about. He said absolutely not. He said he would never marry a woman that made significantly more than him because he thinks that she would want to be in charge. That's what he said.
Yeah, he got a complex.
He got a
He
complex.
got a complex.
Give it to us. I mean, and then on vice versa. But I honestly, I didn't hear any of the women say, and which is another dynamic that exists. I didn't hear any of the women say that they would have a problem with being the person that made more money. So you talk from the man perspective, and I talk from the woman. What do you think about this, Pastor Will?
It's hard for me. Well, it's not hard for me to talk from a man perspective. I understand where he's coming from because he don't want a woman to be over him. It's for a lot of men. Um, it's amazing that it goes. Somebody's trying to call me from work again. That's crazy. Yeah, stop playing with me. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. And so, as a, as a man, it is really, really, really what am I saying, E? I'm saying as a man, I can understand how they can feel if a woman makes significantly more, that they feel like the shoe is on the other foot as far as um who's the dominant in the relationship, right? Because if she makes more money, then you feel like your voice is lost or you have no voice in the relationship, right? And so I can see how that would make a man feel if a woman is if a woman is like a taking charge kind of bossy like woman, and so that's probably not the right woman for him. That's probably not the right mix he need. However, we do live in a society now where women, especially black women, make significantly more than the black man. It just is what it is these days. Some of it is education, some of it is opportunities. Whatever the difference is, whatever the matter is, um, going to the end of this, I think we're going to have to find men is going to have to find a way to put that thought behind them, and those relationships need to be garnered about that money should not determine your role in the relationship. And somebody and you're in the relationship, money should not hoard or yeah, money should not be the thing that hoards over you for control.
Look, I think from this perspective, like you and I just celebrated 20 years of marriage last month. And one of the things I will say is, we both made a lot of different amounts in that time period. Okay. We've been in different places as it relates to how much we have made during that time period.
Yeah.
And I will say that this is why we're getting to mentalities tonight. We talk about sugar daddy, sugar mama, because that's a mentality. The reason why we get into mentalities is because it really doesn't matter how much the other party makes if you don't understand the relationship dynamic. If you are not okay with everything we have belongs to one another now. Like if the becoming one that it talks about in the Bible, if that's not the way your relationship is set up, it really, the who makes more money, that's going to always be an issue because there's something underlying that's an issue, right? And so I think that until that's dealt with, that mentality that exists is dealt with, if you understand, and I have always understood this, my husband's role, I understand what his role is. And when we had a moment when he lost his job, that did not change his role. He lost his job and he still had the same role as he did when he had a job. And so I think it starts with both people in the relationship dynamic really agreeing with what that relationship dynamic is going to be. So does the person who makes six figures get to handle the finances? Now, let me say this. Pastor Will, for the majority of our merch, has always made more money than me. And I have always handled the finances because I know how to handle finances, right? So for the most part, I have been the bookkeeper of our family, the accountant of our family, right? But that has not precluded his role in financial decision making. We make financial decisions together. So the person who does the bookkeeping is not the person who makes the decisions. And I think that's a really key point, that a way to think about it is, if one person is doing the bookkeeping, in other words, making sure that the accounts are set up right, making sure that the bills get paid, or whatever all the bookkeeping is in the relationship, just because that person is handling the bookkeeper does not make them the decision maker. And that is, I think, an important key. We make financial decisions together. And at the end of the day, since we already talked about how everything really falls on him at the end of the day, he the person that's carrying the weight, that the decisions fall on us. But if he decides to make a decision, okay, if we talking at the table and he say, we ain't doing that, or we are doing that, I'm going to lean on him, because he's the person that at the end of the day is the provider. He's the protector. He's the person that is driving. And so I have no issue with that.
I think it was some trips that we didn't take, not because we didn't have it, for simply the reason I just didn't want to spend the money and do it.
That's correct.
And not that we came to a compromise. Sometimes you say, well, okay, then we all stay home. I tried to gain a mentality that we don't need it all now. it looks good, but we don't need to do this now, and to try to help create some kind of discipline. Especially, just because you have it doesn't mean that we got to spend it, right? Um, but yet sometimes that compromise came down to, well, you go ahead, I'm gonna stay home and you go ahead, because I don't want to spend my money like that.
That's
Or
correct.
I'm gonna go and you stay, because you didn't want to spend money like that.
That's
You
correct.
know,
And so sometimes that was our compromise, that I went on trips and he stayed home
yeah,
because I wanted to. That was something that was my goal. I love to travel. I still do. If it wasn't Corona, we would have been somewhere a couple months ago. If that's something that I desire to do. So when we talked about the relationship, we talked about it as the provider. He's like, I don't really want us to spend that amount of money like that. And I respect that. I respect that because it's relationally, if the bottom fall out, I'm gonna look at him. And so my ability to humble myself, compromise, listen, comes with me understanding that dynamic of the relationship.
yeah. And plus, I'm cheap.
He is very cheap. He is very cheap, and I am not. So that is one of the balances in our relationship.
Yeah, we went on a our y'all know our story. We married, we dated, we married all within 9 months. And so when we went on our honeymoon, we went on a cruise, and the guy wanted to take pictures. And y'all know how, I don't know, even though this was in 2000, these pictures just seem too expensive for to be taking pictures. But she just wanted, she needed to have these moments, these memorable moments. And that was probably the very second fight that we got into, or second argument, not a fight, was second argument that we got into, because I did not want to budge giving off that money. But um what I didn't grasp was, yo, this is our moment. Like, y'all just got married. Y'all need to capture these moments. So if I can go back, I try not to have many regrets, but that's one thing I do regret, is being cheap and not capturing moments and not understanding living in the moment. And, so that's one thing that cheapness costs you, or being frugal costs you. Sometimes it do cost you living out the moment.
Yeah, I say this too. The one thing that he didn't know about me at that time yet was like my grandmother captured every moment. So I grew up in a picture household. We took pictures of everything. I have a picture with my first crab, y'all, at 2 years old with my butter knife. Like, pictures like was a really big deal to me. So for me, it wasn't about money, but that part of our relationship, I think it taught us a lot, as Pastor Will just said.
Yeah.
So let's talk about joint bank accounts, Pastor Will. Let's talk about joint and separate bank accounts.
Woo. Joint and separate bank accounts.
Woo.
Man, you talking about intimate, and that's intimate.
That is intimacy.
That is intimacy. You talking about, bringing what you make together in some form. It doesn't even have to be in all forms, but in some forms. So, as you get closer to a wedding date, and as actually before you get married, you actually sign a certificate,
That's correct. The marriage certificate.
the marriage certificate. And, you know, um, I would think that's about the good time. That's about a good time to start putting some funds together. Um, start really kind of setting yourself up. But before then, I would err on the side of caution.
Absolutely.
Because not saying that he or she is going to do something, but um, it's going to be a cause for contention, because you're going to really see spending habits and that happen throughout that account.
Yeah, you know what happened to us? If I could be transparent for a minute, is like when we first got married. So we 20 years in now. This is like as it relates to money, this is not a thing. Like, we got like a machine that works well. But when we first got married, this was not a well-oiled machine. And we tried a lot of things. We had separate accounts. We had one bill paying account, and then we had our own accounts, and we tried to like put money into the bill paying account. We tried put all our money together in one account. And what we learned, I see that right there. What we learned was when we put all our money together, it was glorious. Like it was, it was like, whoa, this is amazing. It's me and you. Look at us. We're doing good, right? But what I learned about, the cheap Pastor Widow we just talked about, I learned the one who liked to make big purchases. So he left the idea of being frugal. You remember this? And he went to the like big spending guy. And so what we learned, yes, sir, when we had our account together, yes, what we learned was the dynamic that worked best for us was to have set some limits on. So, I mean, we tried everything. Isn't that right, Pastor William?
Yeah, we tried everything. It just seemed like I just kept being coming on the end of the short stick.
That's not true, y'all. This is his recollection of this, but it is not a true story, y'all.
I mean, but I was paying. I always paid the mortgage. The mortgage always
belonged to him.
Mortgage always belonged to me. So but when that account was together, when we was at with Chevy Chase Bank, I don't know.
Go back to Chevy Chase, really?
Going back to Chevy Chase. My side was always a little short. That's why we had to make some changes. I was like, wait a minute, hold up.
We had to make some changes.
We had one account.
We had one account. And like, it was crazy.
I said, this ain't working.
It was crazy. And so I do think that when you talk about joint bank accounts and stuff, what you're really talking about is finding a dynamic that works, right? We talk about relationship dynamics. Now we're talking about spending dynamics. Finding out what spending dynamic works for your family. And we figured out that wasn't it. So we had the joint bill paying account. This one stuck, joint bill paying account, and then his personal account, my personal account. Everybody know what they putting in at the end of the day. Everybody know what they spending for the month at the end of the day. That was the best thing that worked for us.
And then everybody got their account. Ain't nobody got to touch mine. The boys got their account. Mom got her account. Ain't nobody got to touch my account. I can have my $2 all to myself.
Hallelujah. So finding out the dynamic that worked, the spending dynamic and the saving dynamic that works for your family is a key part of the oneness. That you're not just becoming one flesh, meaning consummation, but you're becoming one in finances, that you're becoming one in building a legacy, building a, something generational, building something, but also how what you're buying, what you're spending, all that stuff now becomes something that is part of the family.
That's
part
right.
of our team.
And so, and not only the finances, but also the debt.
Yeah.
We all start the same bank account or got a bank account together, but eventually you're going to share debt together too. And prayerfully you don't get too much debt that you need another sugar daddy or sugar mama to help you out of debt.
That's real. No adultery. We talked about that last. No adultery.
So you got to stay away from the debt trap. You got to stay away from traps. And that's a good point, Pastor. You got to stay away from traps that would point you into the realms of adultery.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, there are traps meant for you to pull you into an illegal relationship.
Yeah.
Whether it's adulterous or whether it's with the wrong person at the wrong time. I think about the Bible. I think about Samson in the Bible, how him and Delilah, how their relationship was an illegal relationship, but it just pulled them in.
Yeah,
he couldn't stop himself from being pulled in, which eventually took his anointing and snatched his power and sent him to an early grave.
My goodness, that took a shift. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it really depends. when you your perspective can definitely pull you into things. If your point of view is that your husband has to do this, your wife has to do that, and they can't meet that, you may start to look for it somewhere else. That's why we are talking tonight about making sure we are settled in our thinking as it relates to money, not in our necessarily in our the details of it, because that's something you have to work out once you're together. That has to be worked through. But we're making sure our mind is right. We're going in with the right mind, because that's what's going to really make a difference. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Want to get to some more questions now, Pastor?
Yeah.
Okay,
Come on.
more questions. I lost the question. Come on. So I see when you be losing the question, I'll be like, why you losing the question? Oh, here we go. How does it look when you're coming into the relationship with children? I do think that Elder Freddie answered this for us in a very, great way when she talked about how once you add children to the dynamic, that we have to make sure that there is continuity built in, there is understanding built in of now the children have to be taken care of. For example, if the children are coming in with the mom or the children coming in with the dad, that there is understanding, relational understanding, that the children is going to be taken care of regardless, right? If mom pass away, if dad pass away, whatever the thing is, that as a couple now, we're building continuity for the children, and we're also making decisions based on the whole family dynamic, not just me and you anymore, but the children. So I think it's important that, making sure that there's agreement before marriage on how that person thinks about children, relationship, family. I think that all that needs to be laid out, because it will sometimes cause the person coming in with children to be overprotective and overly right. And so those are some things you can come into agreement with, of like, I want to save this amount, for my children fund or for this, that, or whatever. Is that something that we can agree on? That those types of agreements should be made prior to marriage. Agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's keep going. We got more questions. Okay. So one of the questions is, let's see. Okay, what if you have joint accounts? One person is saving, the other person is a spender. What do you do?
So here's the thing about money, and it's not about money. Here's the thing about people. People don't talk when it comes to money, because usually when you talk about money, it becomes a sticky point or a sore point, and that you want to avoid, right? But it's an honest conversation that you have to have with each other. Like, hey, you're a saver and I'm a spender, so how are we going to work together? How
Yes.
how does this work? Or what are we going to do to make it work? So it's having a conversation about it rather than taking it on your own and just doing it.
Yeah. I think that, that is an important aspect too, is like, it's really, anything that's relational is about conversation. It is about, are we communicating, or are we just making decisions? Is somebody else just kind of being the person that's pushing to make decisions instead of coming to the table? And I think that was something that we definitely grew into, because at first, going back to those early years when we had one account, it was too much. Everybody just mad, like, where the money going? Why everybody, it was a whole lot of that kind of thing. But over time, we learned to then have conversation, and those conversations led us to, having some understanding about what could work best for us. And we tried out different things. Some things didn't work until we got to something that did. That's the beauty of being two, of having two that are one.
And it's not overnight that you're going to see a difference. It may take a few paychecks before you see that, okay, this is not working. But it's being patient in the process too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talked about. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Pastor.
No, I didn't say
Okay.
anything. I figured out
So
what that static was. One of my phones was ringing, and it was causing
yeah,
interference.
causing static. So we talked about four dynamics tonight, guys. We talked about the relational oneness dynamic. We talked about the
It's
family
ringing again.
dynamic. I have an edit. Oh, wait a minute. Oh boy. Okay, let me try that again. What happened? We talked about four dynamics tonight. I'm going to do the summary tonight, it looks like. We talked about four dynamics tonight. I'm going to do that again. We talked about relational oneness dynamic. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to give a brief overview of that. We talked about the family dynamic. We talked about the money dynamic. And then we also talked about the provision dynamic. And so I'm going to give us a quick overview because I know we did a lot of questions tonight to get to some mentalities. So let's see if I can put this app on here again. Okay, so we talked about four dynamics tonight: the relational oneness, family, money, that's spending and saving, and provision dynamic. So what we talked about is, and I'm gonna bring these all in to give some perspective. Number one, that the relational oneness dynamic is about the fact that once we become married, the goal is to become one. Okay, it's not a me, I, it's a we, us. Okay, so moving from the idea that I'm an independent person, this, that, and the other, but relational oneness dynamic is the goal is to become one flesh, as it says in the Bible. So the relational oneness dynamic is we are moving to a oneness, that we become one person, one flesh, and we operate like that even when it comes to money. The second one is the family dynamic. So that's talking about who plays what role, what's the roles in the family, and also if the wife works, how does that look, right? If the wife works, how does that look? We didn't even get into this, but how does that shift the household responsibilities? If she works as well full time, how does chores and all those things around the house work? So the family dynamic has to be defined. We have to define the roles in the family dynamic. It is key that even if the wife makes more, that the discussion about family roles and the roles that the husband plays and the wife plays, the husband, from my perspective, which I believe is a biblical one, is still the head of the household. Okay, and so getting married, I knew that was coming. So I think that's one thing to the ladies out there and to the men out there, that's coming. The weight from the men and the trust for the woman. That role of husband, yes, you responsible, you need to carry the weight of this. That is true. That's coming. The third dynamic we talked about tonight was the money dynamic, the spending, saving dynamic. And that's something that has to be discussed. The money dynamic, what's in your wallet, has to be discussed prior to marriage. You should not wait until you get married to talk about how much you make, to talk about how much you got saved, and to talk about your spending and saving habits. Those are not post-marriage conversations. Those are premarital conversations. Yeah. So the money, spending, saving dynamic is something that has to be done prior to marriage. It has to be done. This is the way that we can confront some of these mentalities that may exist within us. Then number 4, the provision dynamic. So the idea that we two are part of a team that makes sure that we all gonna eat and live, but also that the husband will be the provider, even if he makes less money. He is going to work hard to enable his family to live their best life. How do, Pastor Will? Our 4 dynamics tonight.
You did great. You did great. That was good.
So I hope y'all enjoyed tonight, man. We got the 9 quick tonight.
Yeah. Sugar mamas and sugar daddies.
Sugar mamas and sugar daddies. Who make the most money? What's in your wallet? How you think about it?
So stay off of IG.
Stay off of IG. Do not go out there and get your sugar daddy that can pay your bills. Don't be sending them no pictures. Don't be giving out no favors. Listen, that is not a biblical, that is not dating God's way. And I hope tonight that you received a lot of clarity on how to think about money and how you gonna move with money. Yeah, money. Look,
Man,
the Bible say money answers all things.
it
So we ain't
does.
living that great without no money.
It does. It does. It does. It does. But your relationship with money has to be a healthy one. Don't allow money to rule you, but you rule over money.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. And you rule over money as a couple. It's important that you defeat the poverty and things that come to depreciate your value as a family. If you want to you want to have a vehicle that you really as a family you tackle those things so that money isn't ruling over your family, but as a family you're ruling over money. Yeah, yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
somebody said great topic tonight. Great. Glad you
Wow.
enjoyed it. If you have more questions, you can always hit us up on Dating God's Way.
You can always do that.
And or you can hit us up, Pastor Will or Pastor E. Personally, you can always, yes, yes, yes. What's in your wallet? That's what we're talking about tonight, Key. Yes, 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 yes. Be sure to follow our page. Also, be sure to tell someone else to follow our page and share this video. Love you guys. This is a great broadcast tonight. Sugar Mama, Sugar Daddies, what's in your wallet? Good night, guys. Angel, look, it's Angel Will. Hey, Angel.
Angel. Hey, Angel. Oh, hey, Kishana.
Yes.
Michelle. Hey, y'all.
See you, Angel. Yes. Good night, guys. Excellent. You're welcome. Love you guys.